Is that Drytron? Yes, it is. Finally locking down a regional comeback on one of the best rundowns that I've seen in a while out of Chicago. I'll make 30% of you guys have not smashed the other than crap out of the subscribe button. Smash it so we can climb up the 100K ladder here. Your breakdown out of Tinley Park, Illinois here, or rather your Chicago regional, tells a pretty interesting story yet again for the format here. Now, you had 3 sprites within your top cut. I know, good old Sprite continuing on with its domination out here. You know, we've seen Sprite continue to evolve with, inclusions of the Brave package, taking a step back from the Brave package. Pixies has started to become a little bit more of a card that players are starting to try out here. And while that's all fine and dandy at the end of the day here, just seeing like the cool ideas that players are kind of stepping up with, the ideas that they're trying out here with, other decks versus Sprite, it's kind of forcing Sprite to make some interesting changes to themselves. Now, the other deck that was the biggest representative here was we had triple Tier Element. Now, you also had some branded splash within some of these variants here, which means that branded is kind of starting to revive here. There was a lot of players that looked at like the very early stages of Tier Elements in the OCG and saw that branded was one of the things that carried the deck. But once the Ishizu stuff kind of started to wake up in terms of dominance, a lot of players obviously cut that all and put it to a side. And a lot of people at the very beginning of this format also said that, the Tier Elements with branded wouldn't see play because the deck feels too slow. Well, that looks like that mentality has kind of started to shift within some of the regional circuits and within the minds of players testing out these ideas and finding success with it. So that's really good to see. Now, the biggest abnormality out of this regional was Drytron taking down a huge first place finish, which was really awesome. And then the last deck out of Top Cut here, from what I've been told by a couple people, was actually Sword. So I don't have 100% confirmation on that, but that's what it's looking like here in terms of that. I could be wrong on that last slot, but that's what I was told by a couple people as we were wrapping up the breakdown for this. We're going to pass on over to top deck list now. Of course, winning the regional just had to be Drytron, which I think this is pretty interesting, man. Drytron has... I think a lot of people kind of had the same thought with this deck, that Drytron was one of those decks that you would see come back out of the woodwork here because the power scaling and things that it had going for it. I mean, obviously, Vanity's Ruler is a heck of a card when you can establish this, bad boy onto the field. Well, the deck was one of the best board breaker decks that we've seen in the past. So why would we not see this deck wake back up and get the chance to do something? Well, that's what we saw out of this event. Was Drytron smashed through a majority of your rogue metagame contenders out here and took down a first place. Little interesting notes for this. We're still on the Dark Ruler No Mores. Like I said, board breakers are absolutely powerful. You have something like Mystic Mine here, which I think in the past builds we've seen 2 to 3 of this. I think one of this is fine. Obviously, you can make up your decision tree if you're terraforming for what you need. You see, Talents is becoming one of the best cards out of this format. Trust me when I say this, man. Talents is the free sweeper that you want to see in a lot of these matchups. Your opponent negates, slap down Talents, force them into an even worse decision here. All right, and then of course, yeah, good old Ultimate Slayer here doing what it does. Free double spot removal off of the Troubled Sunny is so good. Outside of that, I mean, I really wish I could say that you get a lot better options in terms of your utility and things with this deck, but you really don't at the end of the day. Like, unfortunately, you're still limited within your capacity because of, limitations and, the loss of Ava in order for something like that to happen. So, a little bit of a shame, but alas, I think it's fine. Next up here was second place. This is where you see your full extended package here with more of a bring out of the Despia stuff. Once again, I said at the very beginning here that you've seen a lot of players that would just not go down the skill tree for this and want to play this. And extending out for 50 cards is perfectly fine for a deck like this. You also have Galaxy Cyclones built into the main deck, so in case when you're doing your milling for this, you can see these. I know a lot of people prefer these in the side deck, but when you you can mill these off in your main matchups and have success with it, why not? I also see that we have 9 viruses down here between 3 DDVs, 3 eradicators, and the triple copies of the trap tricks. You should be winning free matchups because of these, all right? So you will be getting full value out of this. Good stuff in terms of the creation for, your good utility options for that. Outside of that, deck feels very good. You have your board breakers in here to ensure that you can play the game. Yeah, it's no wonder why this deck was able to get second place. Next up here is good old Sprite. Man, oh man. So what's this Sprite deck doing that's interesting? Yes, we are playing 1 Instant Fusion. I've not seen a lot of people focus on Instant Fusion or the Ready Fusion aspects of this, because this is still a tuner. This still makes Halki 5-Brax in order for you to start combo and, try to bait a hand trap along the way. Like, that's why I think Halki 5-Brax is such a power card in a deck like this. Now, this build is not doing IP. It's not doing Avermax shenanigans. No. We're just focusing on more just... is it really just basic Sprite combo at that point? 2 monsters make full Sprite combo. You're good to go at that point. So, honestly, I don't see anything too crazy. I do see that we did put more of an emphasis on Super Poly in the main deck here, so you can board break anything that your opponent might set up that kind of looks like it might be an intimidating thing to you. Alright, next up here, more Sprite. Come on, man. Now, this is, honestly, between the last list and this one, this looks way more streamlined. We have the crossout detonators in here, so you can punish any sort of hand trap. I do know, for the most part, that you want to make sure that you're resolving. If your opponent hand traps you out of your mind, you're just like, oh, I can't play the game. That's like literally the worst feeling while you're playing this deck, is any sort of hand trap can ruin your day. But this right here is, this is the good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Corruptor Ibly built into the main deck. Do you know that you can gigantic bring this out? This does meet the requirement of being a level 2 within your deck, which means that you can laugh at your opponent and go, hey, good luck, buddy. As you pass this on over to the table and you're like, I hope you have something to handle that. The answer is they might, all right? But it is definitely something that, in more of a Tier Elements top cut, can definitely win you a game. Next up here is another Tier Elements deck. Now, this is a little bit more familiar of what I'm used to seeing. We are playing triple offerings to the Doomed in this deck. Remember, this is an immediate out to Mystic Mine. You just pop off your own monster and you go ahead, do your job. It's also a spot removal option to anything else that might be an issue. We're also doing our full danger package in here. I definitely like the fact a lot of these builds will just play the triple Nessie, the 2 Mothman. This build went ahead and extended out to Jackalope, Bigfoot, and Thunderbird. You don't get punished to play these. They're just additional options for you to discard and trigger some draws. Oh, I hit one of my many Tier Elements cards to go ahead and trigger my fusion plays. All right, you kind of take your extra advantage chicken tendies where you get them and you set up and you go with it. So once again, I'm glad to see that even with 45 cards, it all still worked out. Shout out to Deck Devastation Virus down here, man. Next up here is another, man, so many Sprite differentiations in terms of lists. We saw Nightmare Corruptor Ibly. We saw Crossout Designators. Now we don't even care about the Crossouts. Now we're playing Nimble Beavers, man. We're playing, actually, this is interesting. We're playing Diva with Beaver. All right, how many starters can you pack into one deck? Well, the answer is enough in order to capitalize and play the game. All right, 1 Smashers. If you haven't noticed, for the most part, Smashers have just been sticking around as a one-of in a majority of these decks. Most players have not even really cared to kind of capitalize on that. And of course, you see Pixies. I mean, hey, Pixies is an additional body that you have access to. It also is an acting honest. I don't know how many people actually give 2 craps about seeing an honest monster work its magic within the current format. But you know what? It all is working out at the end of the day. So good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. I love to see cool, crazy ideas work out, man. I just want to play Gamma in my Sprite deck. And last but not least, this is a little bit more streamlined for a list here. We're playing, of course, a small package of Alubers with the Fallen of Albazes. We're on 42 cards. You have the 1 fusion sub built into the main deck. I love the fact that Guardian Chimera is still seeing a lot more play in here. And of course, super polymerization. You gotta straight love the fact that you're an acting fusion deck, man. Like, a lot of players are gonna have a hard time, you know, aiming to break this strategy, and it all works out at the end of the day. You know, you board break, you roll, and your opponent's like, I can't really do anything about this. Yeah, as they shouldn't be able to. So that's your breakdown for the Tinley Park, Illinois, or Chicago Regional for you guys. Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button. I'll see your beautiful faces back here in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.